Beautiful. All right. I'm late. I apologize for that. I was uploading another video and is what it is. But I'm here, so let's get into it. Big Life Journal, we're up to page 22, and we're looking at, have you used affirmations? Okay. An effective way to shut down your negative self-talk is to use positive affirmations. It's a common strategy used by some of the most successful people in the world. Like most things you practice, the more you do of it, the easier and more effective it becomes. Pro tips. 1. Speak in the present. Be Yoda, not Luke. 2. Don't speak in absolutes, always and never. I feel like all right, cool. 3. Keep it simple. Short and powerful sentences. 4. Make it real. Say it loud, stand up, gesture too. That's where I think it starts to become incantation more than affirmation. Affirmation can be like, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And really you're sitting there thinking, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself. That's not real, right? You're just lying to yourself. So what I do is, oftentimes it's really interesting. I ask people what's something that you love about yourself. I think it's an amazing thing to be able to actually tell yourself that you love and appreciate yourself. Not in an arrogant, egotistical way, but just in a way that helps build you up as a person. I think it's a really good thing. Everyone's very quick to find things that are wrong and bad and everything that's not working or not good enough. Very little time is spent generally on things that are good and things that you can appreciate, right? So one of the things that I'll do with people, because often saying I love myself is a lie. For most people, what I've come across, I've met, I think, one person, first time meeting them, they can be like, yeah, cool, I love myself. I have met a lot, but in areas where that's their life and everyone considers them weirdos and wackos. But rather than just like saying it and not believing, because I don't think that's beneficial. I think lying to yourself is not beneficial. If you find one thing about yourself that you love, so for me, it would be I love my drive. I love that I've been on, sort of, but I also think I'm weird for it. I've been on this computer like all day, editing videos, making new videos, trying to create content, trying to find ways to make this better for the kids and the people that I want to watch this and get this information. And probably doing horribly in a lot of cases. But I love that I'm doing it. And I love that I'm putting it out there. I'm looking for feedback. I'm looking for ways to get better. I think that's a really, really cool thing. And I genuinely love that about myself. So it could be, and if it's not an attribute that you've got, maybe you love that you said hello to someone, or you love that you smiled at someone, or you love that you've got good teeth, or you've got a nice smile, or you love that you've got eyebrows, or you love anything. It can just be really small. But I think if you're doing these affirmations or incantations, it needs to be real. So if you say, if you sit there and one of mine is like, I'm powerful, right? If I sat there and said, I'm powerful, that is so incongruent, it's not funny. So I need to be like, I'm powerful, and strong. Whatever the action is, to add to that gives the incantation or the affirmation power, makes it real. So I think that's really important. Visualize your statement. Yes, very true. It's a repetition of affirmations that leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Muhammed Ali. Picture this. In a sport where fists do the talking and silent masculinity reigns, a man with quick wit, poetic gift, and exuberant confidence thought his way to success. He was born Cassius Clay and transformed himself into Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer in history. He was not the strongest, he was not the biggest, but he was the best. How do we know? Because he said so. He began with a thought, repeated it, and let belief follow after. I figured that if I said it enough, I would convince the world that I really was the greatest. The belief spread through his bones and began to transform his actions, his abilities, his future. Ali showed us ability is one thing, but self-belief and positive thoughts are the difference between good and great. I have already done this. All right. So the exercise with this was write a bunch of your own, like I can, whatever it is, I believe, I am, I think is the most powerful, as I said in the last video. Choose one of the positive statements you wrote on the previous page and make it your mantra. Mantra is a statement you repeat frequently. Keep repeating it over and over again until you try. I'm sure that I've done this. Draw a design, a positive comic, meme, t-shirt, tattoo, anything else you like. I think that's a good one, right? So whatever one of these affirmations is that sits with you and you're like, yeah, like I feel that. Like it could be I am wealthy, I'm powerful, I am courageous, I am so loving and so caring and so passionate about helping people. Whatever it is for you, right? But you make that and then design it, draw it, make it visual. So if you're artistic, this is great for you. If you're not artistic, it's still really good exercise to get in there and just it ingrains it in your brain in a slightly different way. So drawing these things, writing it down, not writing lines. We're not at school. You're not in trouble. You're doing these things to make yourself feel good. So if you don't feel like drawing a big picture, don't. If you like tattoos, draw it in a tattoo that might make you excited. How would you be able to design that so that it was in a tattoo and you got excited about? Maybe it's a t-shirt that you wear. Maybe it's it could be like a poem or lyrics. But whatever it is for you, just write it. Spend a little bit of time writing it, drawing it. That's the exercise there. And I strongly recommend doing that. Okay. Not now though, because I'm moving on. But you can do it after. Right. Have you ever wondered why you have negative self-talk in the first place? Most beliefs are acquired from the world around you. People you spend the most time with, movies and videos you watch, music you listen to, etc. The messages you constantly receive from outside get hardwired in your brain and become your beliefs. So true. Okay. Your thinking is heavily influenced by the 5 people and things you spend the most time around. Write down people and things, for example, video games, social apps, you spend the most time with. Mark on each scale whether the messages you receive for them are mostly negative, complaining, gossip, or positive, encouragement, love. Okay. This is an exercise to do. And I'll do my examples here of what I've got now. Or the one I did with the kids at a program that I did a full day was where I was about 5 years ago. And I'll do that again so that you've got that idea. So my dad would have been 1, and the score that I gave him was about a 4. My sister was 1, and she was about a 6 or 7 at that time. I'm also a hard marker, so I might be a little unfair on these. My nieces were there, and they were about a 9. They were phenomenal and still are. They're the most amazing things probably in my life. Then I had an ex-girlfriend who was probably about a 4 or 3 on that scale. I spent a lot of time with her, and I had an old work boss who was probably similar to my ex, about a 4 or 3. That time in my life, I wasn't hugely happy. Oh God, I do apologise. I've been doing a lot all day, and I am quite ready for a snooze, but I want to get this done. So I look back at that time. I look at my worth, both financially, how I felt about myself, how I felt about what I was doing with my life, level of fulfillment. It just wasn't great, and that was pretty strongly reflected in the people I hung around, and they were very much the same. My old man was he was just very quick to find things that were wrong, and we didn't have a good relationship at that time. And I really, the biggest problem in that relationship was I was trying to change him to what I thought he should be, not who he was. As soon as, man, and it's only been recently, I was just like, man, just accept him for who he is. Like, just love him for who he is completely. Like, I've done it in sections before, but I've still tried to be manipulative and try and change him. Waste of time. He's got an absolute wealth of knowledge that I can learn from, and he has been my biggest teacher and my greatest inspiration for pretty much everything. When I made the decision to stop trying to change him and stop trying to judge him, rather just accept and love him for who he is. And our relationship's really good now. It's probably one of the best relationships that I've got in my life, funnily enough. It's crazy. I did not think that was even going to be a remote possibility 12 months ago. But really cool. And the interactions I have with him now are overwhelmingly positive. So he's probably not one of the closest 5 in my life, but the interactions that we have would be about a level, like if I were to score him now, it would be like an 8 or 9. We have really good interactions. At that time, though, I had to distance myself because it just wasn't what I wanted. And I wanted to be happier, so I had to get around different people or different ideas. And for me, in all honesty, the past probably 5 years, and even now, the things that are closest to me, I get from media platforms. I don't have a lot of friends that I spend a lot of time with. I've got some really good mates that I value quite highly, but I'm not with them all the time. But the content and people that I research, the books that I read, they would be the things, like if I was looking at my 5 influences, it would be things that I get from channels, like YouTube channels. There's a couple of people that I follow on there that influence me way more than anyone else. And I've taken their ideas enormously, and yet I've never had an interaction with them. There's books that I read that influence me far more than any people in my life. It's because I really started to take this principle seriously. And I like protected myself from these, what I perceived as negative influences. And because I didn't really know how to go about finding positive ones, I just said, okay, cool, boom, go into a bubble. So I stopped talking to people, basically, or I'd have conversations and they'd all just be pretty surface. And the crazy thing is, like, I love being with people. I love being around people, particularly people that challenge me. It's one of the most exciting things in the world. But at that time, I didn't know, and I'm still not really sure about how to get around them. I wish I had more, but I'm okay doing what I'm doing. Everything's still moving forward. Everything's still growing. Everything's still improving. So, it's good for that front. But I think this is a great one for anyone to do. It's brilliant for kids to do, but most of the time, kids are gonna. When I've seen it, it's hard for kids to put down people like mum and dad on there and say, even if their mum or dad is quite negative, very unlikely to get an answer of like a 4 or a 5, even if that's the facts. But to go through the exercise, maybe with their friends, and look at the friends that they hang out with, how positive are their friends, how negative, what's the sort of language that's been used, are they encouraging you, are they trying to pull you down? I think they're really good little exercises to do, and honestly, I think it's great for adults. It's brilliant. Anytime you're feeling crap, if you go and look at the 5 things that are influencing you the most, and for most people, the news is probably one. If you turn the news off, the quality of your life and happiness goes through the roof. Your level of happiness improves so much just by turning off the TV. I don't own a TV, and I haven't for years, and I don't want to, because they are, in my opinion, one of the most horrible things out there, and they corrupt people so much. They just brainwash people, teach them what to think. I think they're horrible things. I much prefer finding independent thinkers on channels like their YouTube channel, where you get their opinion, their thoughts, their reasons as to why, not this corporate sort of advertising-driven campaigns. And I mean, I know people make money from YouTube, but it's much more of a, I don't know, I just feel like you've got a lot more control over who you take in and who you don't. I think Facebook used to be a little bit like that, but Facebook's pretty bad now. There's not a lot of platforms. I think books are brilliant. those sorts of things are amazing. When, like, I found myself slipping quite a lot last year when the US election was on, and you can call them conspiracies. I think a lot of it's got a lot of merit, but a lot of things around Trump and Biden and different sort of cults in behind there, and what was happening between those and what that might mean, and just all this amp up by the media. And in reality, there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing learning was good because it helped me with my investments. It probably made me quite a lot of money last year. And it was good from a macro perspective to have an idea, but I dove into it too heavy. I worked out why later on, but because I'd done that and gone in so hard, my level of happiness was suffering enormously. And what I'd done is one of these 5 influencers had become the news. I'd got rid of the TV to get away from it, and I'd gone and found it for different reasons. I wasn't looking at it to be informed as such, or just watch the news. But it's not a positive message, and I felt myself slip enormously. So by cutting that out and getting back to reading, or finding people's podcasts that are actually educating me in a mostly positive light. There's a bit of drama because everyone likes a bit of drama, right? But mostly positively geared towards creating your own life, creating your own freedoms, things that I'm passionate about, things that I like, and ideas that challenge me and help me learn and grow. Way better, and I'm pretty happy now. We got locked down a couple of days ago, and I don't care that much. I think it's stupid. The whole concept's retarded, but and it shouldn't happen. There's no way it should happen. There's no evidence that backs up that it works or is in any way valid. And of all the people that are cases, one's sick. It's like we're locking down a city of 7 million people for one sick person. It just it doesn't make sense. There's no metric that has that making sense. But then you look at the insanity of people going and buying all this toilet paper and that. It's enough to drive you. If that's your world and that's everything that you're consuming and going into your head, you go insane. You'll lose it. And a lot of people's mental health are suffering because the influences around them are not positive right now. And it's it's a really easy one to slip into. And I'm just happy that this time around it's happened. I expected it to happen. I have thought for a very long time that 2021 was going to be worse than 2020. I think we had a pretty cruisy first 6 months in Australia, but I'm sure it'll get worse as they want to implement whatever they want. And, good on them. Go for it. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to really control it. I can just control what I'm doing. And doing this is something that I'm doing to build it for me. It's not just... I'm doing this for a reason, and part of it is building a business that I am in control of, not one that the government can tell me to shut down and I have to shut it down. That's absurd. That's communism. At its core, government's telling you what to do, how to live, whether you can eat, whether you can, go and create a living, give a service to people that people want. That's pretty communistic. And I don't like that. I like the idea of capitalism, free markets, free thinking, being able to take things to people, and if they like it, they'll use it. If they don't, they'll reject it. And it comes down to the individual and the individual's choice. I believe that's what everyone should have in pretty much every area of your life, particularly medical freedoms. And it's one that just it's looking like it's been taken away pretty quickly. And yeah, people are happy about it, which is even more astonishing, or cheering for it. It's a very short memory of the Holocaust and what happened there. The Nuremberg codes that came from that, stating that something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, but no medical procedure would ever be forced on people without their informed consent. And yet, here we are, part of a massive trial going on around the world, under the guise that it's for our safety and protection, when none of the numbers back it up. But look, is what it is. I don't want to talk too much on that on this channel because you're not allowed to, and that's okay. But in the same breath, I still think people are completely entitled to do what they want. But whatever it is, at the end of the day, the idea is to be happy, right? So if you want to partake in lockdowns and masks and shots and anything else that comes with it, that's cool if it makes you happy. If you've thought through it and you're like, okay, cool, this is going to improve the quality of my life at the end of the day, I'm going to do it. Go for it. No dramas. But then if other people don't want to, I don't see why that should be such an issue. It's like, who cares? Don't want to wear a mask. You're wearing yours. What are you worried about? Like, I don't know. Just, it's odd. But a lot of those influences and those ideas that come into your head will be from things like the television, like the media, and understanding why they put things out the way they do, because they're putting it out to get reactions. They're putting it out to get clicks. They're putting it out to get views. Because if they get views, if they get eyeballs on, they make money. Funnily enough, it's one of the things I'm trying to do with this channel. I need more people watching. I need more subscribers. I need more view time watched so that this can actually turn into a revenue stream, as well as building an audience so that I can get programs out there later on and build a business that way to get to the amount of people that I want to get to, because I truly believe the information that I'm giving out will improve people's lives tremendously. And I know I do it in a way that other people don't or aren't able to for the market that I've got. So it's fulfilling as for me, but I definitely want it to be a massive income stream. And to do that, I've got to get views and clicks. But God, I would, if I ever manipulated people the way that mainstream media is, I would hope that someone would slap me across the face, boot me up the arse, and shake me until I woke up, because I think it's pretty atrocious what's happening there. And in the same breath, you've still got the choice as to whether to turn it off or keep it on. The same as with mine, right? I told you who my five were. My five influences. One of them was my sister. One of them was my dad. I had the option to hang around them more or to remove myself a little bit to help myself grow in areas that I wanted to at that time. And moving away from family is very tough, really difficult. Moving away from like my boss, who was like my dad at that time, incredibly difficult and painful. Man, that was painful. My girlfriend, what was happening at that? She's obviously my ex now, a long time ex, thank God. But wow, so painful, so painful. Yet probably some of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. The same as turning off a TV might be really difficult because you feel like you're missing out on all this stuff, or you're thinking all these things are going on and you need to know about them. You don't. You'll probably function a lot better without it. So, yeah, some of these things, stepping away from these ideas or people or whatever it is, can be really tough. But in the end, I think depends what quality of life you want, right? Like if you want to be a 10 out of 10 in happiness, then you're not going to be able to be surrounded with things that are like 3 out of 10s and expect that you're going to get a 10. You're just not. You need to find things that are 9 and 10s and get around them. If you want to be financially successful and you're hanging around with homeless people, you're not going to be financially successful. If you put a homeless people in a mentor group of millionaires, in 12 months, that guy's going to be a millionaire. It just is. He's going to be financially free. He'll have his own thing set up. Just because you're around different ideas, your thoughts change. So think about who you want to become in different areas of your life: fitness, health, well-being, happiness, contribution to others, work, career, friendships, everything. And are you around those people? It's an incredibly powerful concept if you practice it, if you use it. So I strongly suggest work out who the people are near you. What are they like? Positive, negative. And if you average it out, you tend to get a pretty good reflection of where you're at. Okay. I'll read this bit and we'll call it for the day. We can't always avoid people who complain or bring us down. Very true. However, we can seek out people who are supportive and uplifting and make a conscious effort to be around them more often. And that's all you got to do. All you got to do. It's all about making conscious decisions rather than unconscious, subconscious decisions that, don't turn out well. So go make some conscious decisions, make yourself empowered, improve your life, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Oh, new video coming out. If you haven't already, like this, subscribe to the channel, keep watching, share the videos, because I genuinely believe that the things that are going out there are going to be really, really beneficial to a lot of people, but they need to get out there. So I'd really appreciate sharing, shout outs on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Just share the stuff, like it, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there. And if you want something specific or you've got questions, ask me. Put it in the chat box. All right. See you in the next one. Bye.